Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Misfit One Lifestyles with your host, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. Tea. Go on, get your tea, go on, get your pen and your paper, because my guest today is going to be dripping out these knowledge here about how we can really have victory in our lives. She is the owner of, say it,
Victory in Time.
Yes, Victory in Time. Renee Breazeale, how are you today?
I am fantastic. Great to be here with you today.
I am so excited to speak with you for so many reasons. One is because for those of you guys who do not know her, her story is phenomenal. She has been in a male-driven industry for over 30 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And you was kicking butt and taking names.
I enjoyed it.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
So let's talk about, you were in what industry were you in before?
Nuts and bolts. Yes, started in that industry very young, out of the banking industry, which is more typical for a female, and had the opportunity to kind of jumpstart my career in an industrial supply house, and it went straight into nuts and bolts. Must have been meant to be.
I think that is what a perfect fit, right?
Yeah.
Nuts and bolts and Renee. That was all I needed to say, right? What a formula. And what's great about that is that you went on to create many different how do you say, procedures and things in that field that is still being used.
It is, and it was so much fun for me. Everybody has nuts and bolts. I had so many competitors. So for me, it was about service, and in fact, now I call myself a servant CEO. So it was about serving and creating solutions. That was how I differentiated myself. That and being a woman, that was pretty different too. But going into a customer and finding out how I could support them, what they needed, where their problems lie, and was able to come up with several different products that one of them was patented. I had the opportunity to do a patent, which was amazing.
Yes.
Let's just say the patent was really as far as it went, but it was an experience that, I love to share with other entrepreneurs about what not to do in business. But yeah, opportunities like developing a product where we could go in with a handheld device like you see in grocery stores and banks now. But we were one of the first in the industrial market to do that. And that was where I saw it, buying groceries. And I saw a little guy, he was scanning. I said, "What are you doing?" He looked at me like I was crazy. And he told me what he was doing. I'm like, I could do that with nuts and bolts. So, and it was born. It was born.
I love that. And you see how we pick things up that guys would not even think about.
So true.
I wouldn't even notice it. They're like, "Hurry up, I gotta go." They're not there. But what was great about, you took all of your experience, all the things that you have learned, and now have Victory in Time. And I am so proud of that. I just saying victory in time has such a positive,
Mm-hmm.
powerful feeling over me. How did you come up with that name?
Well, as I thought about it, my life verse is Isaiah 40:31. So I really love eagles, and that's has been my logo, starting with Victory Bolt all the way to Victory in Time. Variations, but and I came up with that because I want people to understand that they can learn a lot from my experiences about what to do. But I was also in my mastermind groups, I'm also very open about what not to do and what I did wrong. I think that's also a difference between us and our male counterparts is we, like you said, they gloss over things, and not, I mean, I love men, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
we're talking about business now, right? It was that I want them to understand that, being a woman in business was not, all roses. There were a lot of problems and adversities, and it's about your attitude and how you look at things, and that enables you to have victory in time. And that's where it came from.
Love it. And victory in time, for you guys who don't know, it's providing mentoring through a mastermind group, right? For business owners, executives, and emerging leaders. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that? And how did you come up with that concept?
Well, I was in a mastermind group for years, and it was fantastic. I learned so much from the other people in the room with me, but it was all men. I was the only woman. There were a few women came and went very short periods of time because there's not a lot of women in the industrial field, as we've determined. But I fit, a lot of the men there were in manufacturing and that kind of thing, in industrial sales, just like I was. So we were not competitors, but we had a lot in common, but we're also very diverse in our backgrounds and the sizes of our companies. And we just learned so much. And I would think then, what if I could do a forum group, or find a forum group that was not only for women, or allowed, was catered to women. It could be women and men. I have one that's particularly for women only, but that, along with biblical principles, to allow us to, another thing that I say from time to time to remind myself is faith first, not last, to victory in time. And I wish I had have had that thought process earlier in my career. And when we're talking about the emerging leaders, I'm actually speaking at Wingate University on November 14th. That's kind of my underlying message. It's called Leading the Eagle Way, but it's about, use your faith before you're in trouble. Don't go crying to him when you've, made that crooked path, more crooked than you can imagine. Use your faith first. So
I love that. And I'm going to interject a little Harryism. And Harry Lee is my dad. So I always say a little Harry Leeism. He will say stuff like, I can help you before you get into it. My daddy gives you great advice. But once you get into it, you got to figure it out yourself, because I told you, and I think that is so true, because that's what I think of when you say faith first.
Yes. And also, trying to help them, give them the courage and the leadership skills to also have faith in themselves, but with a balance. It's got to be a balance. And make sure it is a balance, or that will get you in trouble. So
what's great about that, and I want to talk about that a little bit more. Faith first, faith in God. That is amazing. Of course, we couldn't be here, I don't care who you are, without that. So that goes there, right?
Right.
And then faith in yourself. See, I didn't even think of that, but that is so profound, because so many women
Mm-hmm.
um, are taught to rely on, defer to someone else. So we do lose the ability to rely on ourselves.
So true. So true. Absolutely.
So I love that how you say faith in yourself.
And I can say there's ebbs and flows to that. You know, you got to make sure you don't lose yourself either. That is something that I experienced when I sold my company, was I had a lot of my identity in being the CEO and owner of Victory Bolt and Specialty. And that is something that I talk about in the book, and I talk about in the mastermind group, because if I can, you know, tell somebody that and share my experience with them in their 40s before they get to the point where they're retiring and, you know, their identity is changing. It's, you know, there again, it goes back to faith first, faith in yourself, and then know who you are, because, you know, I was not just a CEO. And it was interesting. It took me a while. And that's when I thought, hey, I'll do the mastermind groups. But that came after I spent COVID writing my book. And it was some days was wonderful when I was sailing through the good times. And some days I would, you know, it'd go slow, couldn't do anything, and then have nightmares at night, you know, working through some of those things. Because what I found out was, going back to, you know, finding where we find our identity, was that I was going to write a business book. And then I realized as I was going through it that what I went through personally directly affected my company. And how can it not? You know, we're women, we're feeling, you know, we take care of people, and, you know, and find it hard for people to take care of us. So it's, you know, puts a lot of pressure on us from that standpoint. But
talk about your book. Talk about your book. What
okay.
Your book, and it's Soaring Through Adversity.
It is life lessons to lead, triumph, and rise above. So, Elizabeth, there's so many adversities in there, but one of the things that I saw was, as I was writing this, and I would encourage everybody to journal so that they can see this for themselves. At every low point, it was followed by a high point. And one of the things I noticed is the lower the point, the lower I went, the higher I went when it came back. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And I say the bigger the adversity, the bigger the victory.
You know, I love that, because it's like a rubber band, right? You know how rubber band pulls back and then flings forward. Yeah. That is good to know, because what you are talking about, and I want to go deeper into that. The more we talk about the adversity and how you soar through, again, I get that eagle.
There you go.
That eagle, I see it now.
Yeah.
How we as women go through so many things. And I love how you said earlier, I wish I would have knew that before. I wish I would have known faith first before. So when we are able to help others, because, you know, I'm a woman of a certain age.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have known, Elizabeth. I wouldn't have known. Seriously. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Renee. You're my new BFF. Because what happens is we are able to now look back and go, whoa.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Many times. And it's, you know, where you get an opportunity and feel it and oh, that's good. And you jump out there and you don't use your faith first. You know, then I'm traveling along and I'm go, God, you know, I need this. And, you know, I thank you for the opportunity, but can you do this? You know, and I'm like, you know, if I'd have done this before I jumped out there, it probably would have been a whole lot smoother, because he brought me through so many things that, you know, that could have gone very wrong, that did, but then he was there to turn it around. And, you know, he knew that I had the faith. He also knew I didn't use it exactly right. But then, you know, life happens. And like I said, the bigger the adversity, the bigger the victory. And that's when my life changed forever, was when I had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And it was huge. And, you know, it was such a shock. I had been married about a year. And so talk about a shock to him. It was a big shock to him too, because his mother died with a brain tumor.
Oh,
He's like, oh my gosh, you know, and so, but anyway, it was also 2008 when the economy crashed and the company went from 49 people to 8. And so it was a lot, but going through that, you know, it showed me the times where, thank God, before that, I had turned to faith first, because I couldn't have made it through all that without that. So, but like I say, the victory, the company ended up doing so much better. I had to learn to walk again. I did learn to walk again, but I was left with a limp.
mhm.
And so I went from my power suit and me strutting around in my pumps to, you know, a limp, which I think is by design to remind me of where I've been and where I've still got to go. So I make a statement of, I may limp when I walk, but I refuse to limp through life. So
I love that. I
yeah.
love that. And that's basically that statement holds so much, because that is basically what you do for others. You want them to live in their greater purpose.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
It's important for me to see that, for them to see that I think I was successful in business. I mean, for many reasons, you know, a lot of hard work. I had a great team around me, you know. The last 15 years, my husband was there. And when he came on board, when we got married, it was absolutely amazing, because the trust that we had together, and we divided some of the departments, and I was able to do what I love to do, which was sell, and it really took off.
Right.
So it was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely amazing where it went to. And I'm thankful.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the things that, again, we look back and go, whoa.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
And how can we get your book, one?
Okay.
And the second thing is, how can we stay connected with you?
Okay. The book is available online through Amazon or Barnes and Noble. If you would like an autographed copy, you can go to victoryintime.com. I would love to autograph you a copy, and then I'll mail it to you. And through the end of the year, if you want an autographed copy, I will cover the freight for you, so you won't have that. And and then I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, both personally and through Victory in Time. And I'm just now, you know, I'm one of those people that I was so much face to face through my career. And I also encourage, like, especially the emerging leaders, not to lose that in this world of social media. So I've struggled a little bit getting back into that. You know, I'll post, or I get ready to post something. I'm like, this looks like bragging, and I back out of it, you know. So I've got to jump out there, because that's how people are going to know that what I went through, and, you know, and the experiences that I had, you know, what I've got to teach.
It has such a large reach. And I'm the complete opposite, Renee. So
Are you?
the switch. I don't want to go anywhere.
Are you? Oh, really? We need to talk later. I'll help you.
Yeah, I'm like, and you know, I will hit that social media up like this. But it's so funny that what we have for each other's strengths and weaknesses. And the great thing about your mastermind is that some of the things that you talk about, how to leverage and work with people as a community and as a team. So can you give us like 3 tips to some emerging leaders?
Mm-hmm.
What are 3 things that you think would be key for them?
Well, one of the things that I talk about is the 3 C's: connect, collaborate, and, oh my God, connect, collaborate, create.
Okay.
And that seems to resonate and gets through what I was just talking about your community. Don't forget about your community. And the other thing that I talk about I tried to mention it earlier and I lost my train of thought, was one of the reasons that I was successful was I had the service mentality where I didn't run the company off the financial statement. I ran the company off of how we performed, looking at on-time deliveries. We also had everybody on they made a salary, but we had everybody on the same commission program where if the company was succeeding, so did they. And it was absolutely amazing, the team that developed. And it was fun. I mean, it was fun. And that's what I want these emerging leaders to realize, that it's not about the bottom line, but the bottom line will come. And then you can help the world. You can work in your community. And then, and along the way, you can do that. You can help in such small ways that make such big differences. And that's what I really enjoyed doing. And which led to, you mentioned how to connect with me. All the proceeds of the book goes to the foundation that Ray and I created called the Victory Advantage. And the short version of this is, and let me make sure I get this right, it is a living community, an independent living community for people with disabilities that is made affordable. And we're in the beginning stages. And I'll be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of, talking to a lot of nonprofits in the disability community and learning and trying to pick up, what they left off. And one of the things that we're doing is, the ADA has its government requirements, but a lot of times that doesn't meet the need of the person with disabilities to be able to stay in their own home. They may build a ramp, but that's as far as it will go. And so it's real interesting.
It is ADA adults?
No, ADA is the government entity that you'll see it. Like if a restaurant opens their doors, they got to be ADA compliant. And I don't even know what that stands for, but it means that they can handle people with wheelchairs, people with disabilities. And but I learned when I was in a wheelchair, that's not true either. I would go into the bathroom and I'm like, this is not handicap accessible.
What's so crazy about that is because that's exactly it. Disability rights for civil rights. So what happens is we can only think about, or I can't not even imagine what it would be like to live and to travel in a wheelchair. Yeah. And what's crazy about that, it's at bathrooms, how they have the one big stall for, I never go in those because I always feel as soon as I get in there, somebody with a wheelchair is going to come in and be like, why are you in the...
Elizabeth, the world needs more people like you, because you would be surprised how many times I would have to wait for that reason. And it's just somebody that wants more room, but now I'm an advocate for, it could have been somebody that needed the rails. And that's the only stall that has the rails. They can move around fine, but they need help. They're older. They need help getting up. But it prevents somebody in a wheelchair because, we can't go into another stall. So there's things like that, that I'm hoping that we can change. But part of the thing that I went through that has led to the Victory Advantage is that, I was used to, having a voice in the room. And when I was in the wheelchair, people weren't, I don't think they were mean. I just think they need some eye-opening speakers that can tell them, how to treat people with disabilities, but they wouldn't make eye contact. They wouldn't talk to me. They wouldn't ask my husband questions. I mean, it was just really, it was sad. It was sad. I mean, it affected me from that standpoint, but then who I am is, okay, we're going to fix this. We're going to make a change.
Here. Yes.
Yeah. So I also, if I could shout out to an organization called Johnny and Friends, JONI. They're also a disability ministry that concentrates on getting the people with disability into churches. And they're absolutely amazing because I think the statistic is 70% of people with disabilities don't go to church. And they're Christians. They have to watch it on TV because they either can't get there. The church has no accommodations for them there. It's just things like that. So that's one of them that we collaborate with and kind of work with them. They've been doing it a long time. They know what they're doing.
Oh, this is amazing. What a fantastic life you have led, and are still learning and growing. And I love the fact that you are sharing and giving back to us, because the world has changed in a lot of ways, and a lot of ways it has remained the same.
Yes, right.
So to have someone who was not only sitting at the table, but had a voice and was a lead, sitting at that head seat, to share with us and to share your wisdom and all the things that you have overcome, and really the 3 C's and faith first.
Yeah.
You guys, you're welcome. That's all I'm saying, is you're welcome, because these are things that we just take for granted, even the things of disability.
Because it could change. I mean, for me, I was going along, was having some headaches, some memory loss. And, my husband, told the doctor, you can do an MRI. And 2 weeks later, there was that big tumor, and my life changed forever. But you know what, Elizabeth, I also say that brain tumor was my biggest blessing. So, because think about the standpoint of there probably wouldn't be a victory advantage if I had not gone through that. And also my husband's brother had Downs. So when he and I came together, it was like, there you go.
And I just had to point out the fact that he brought up the scan, and I think maybe because his mother had it. Look at God. Look at God. Won't he do it? Because I would be like, ooh, you just lay down, baby. You got a headache, take a go to the doctor. I wouldn't have never thought that, but now I will.
Well, I did that for a couple of years, and he was the one that made me take care of myself. Remember I said we don't always take care of ourselves?
I know. And that leads me right into my next question.
Okay.
It is all about now.
Oh, Lord.
How do you, what is your self-care now? How do you take care of you, Renee?
I found back when I had the company, I got into Pilates, and I really love it. And this was after I learned to walk again. Before that, I just walked. I loved it. My dad and I would go walk, and because he worked in the warehouse before he retired, but then we would still walk at lunch and stuff. It was a great time. But for me, it was hit or miss. I didn't do it all the time because of that self-care thing. And then after I learned to walk again, I tried yoga. Well, my balance is terrible. Couldn't do that. And someone introduced me to Pilates, and I found Core Pilates in Indian Trail. Wonderful organization. She has a tremendous foundation for women with breast cancer. But anyway, she took me in along with my stepdaughter, who had a stroke, debilitating stroke at 29. I mean, Elizabeth, God does work in mysterious ways. But anyway, so we would go in there, and she would work with us and help us. And Pilates has remained a part of my life. As I've gotten better, I still have some residual effects, and with my gait and all that. And that is my mainstay. That and prayer. I've had a couple people say lately that, there was some other things that I could do. Oh, stretching. Oh my gosh. But people are like, I can't believe you do that. And I'm like, well, when you can't move, it's a different kind of motivation, but people should not wait till that point. They should not wait.
Say that again, Miss Renee. Can you please say that again?
Don't wait till you have some huge life-altering circumstance to take care of yourself.
Thank you very much. I usually ask for words of wisdom, but that was like amazing. That was the best words of wisdom for me, because I try to tell people all the time. That's my motivation. I don't want to be hurt or have a stroke or something, and then it's now mandatory for me for life or death. I don't want it to be now it's mandatory for life or death.
Yeah.
So, thank you for taking time out and sharing with us. Remind us again, how do we get your book, Soaring Through Adversity?
It is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And if you guys would like an autographed copy, go to victoryintime.com. And now through the end of the year, I will cover the freight. And then I'm on Instagram, both personally and in Victory in Time, as well as Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it on Instagram, and then they can find you all through that, right?
Thank you.
You are a godsend, and I appreciate everything that you have bestowed on us today. I cannot wait to continue our connection, because I think that this was amazing. Thank you so much.
And I'll see you on November 9th.
Yes. Okay, you guys, November 9th is my event. It's coming out. It's coming up shortly. Burnt Out to Bliss, a wellness transformation. It's going to be a definite experience. Until next time, you guys, it's your girl Elizabeth, and I want you to live fit. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Misfit One Lifestyles. But guess what, you guys? I have a great announcement. Escape from the stress of everyday life and find true bliss with our all new program, Blissful Escape. Starting in January, this program is designed to transport you to a world of mental repose and calm. Join us as we explore various techniques and practices to help you unwind and navigate your stress. Don't let the busyness of life consume you. Take a break and embark on a journey toward a more harmonious and fulfilled existence. Make 2024 the year you prioritize self-care and discover the transformative power of well-being. Spaces are limited, so don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to create a sanctuary within your busy life. Register now for Blissful Escape. It starts January. Make this the time to choose you. Go to misfit1.com/blissful-escape. Make sure you are taken care of. Remember, live fit.